You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell, Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, and this is episode 3, season 16 of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. And in this episode, we are talking about the Baltimore Ravens preseason game game one recap, excuse me. Before we get into that, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. You should see episodes 1 and 2 already up. We're going to have other episodes up as well over as probably most likely the weekend. Got to get into the talk about the Washington Mystics. We're going to get back into that as we're getting to this home stretch of the season. There's some things that did happen that I wanted to talk about. It's a little too late to talk about the MLB trade deadline, but there's some other topics I'd like to discuss. But please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the content. I much appreciate the support I've been getting on the channel. In this episode, the Baltimore Ravens escaped with a win Saturday evening against the Philadelphia Eagles, 2019.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
For me, I'll start with the Eagles side of the ball. They have a secondary that I think can compete. They're going to make things really tough in the NFC East. Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Josh Jobe, Sidney Brown, they made it really hard for us at times to move the ball offensively. And again, the Ravens, if you watch, they use the preseason to play like their backups in the third quarter. And I thought that was the key, because the first half, that offense looked very lackadaisical. I really thought that they really made things hard for us at times. I thought the pick six that was on their by the secondary was a good pick. Was a good play defensively. Excuse me. I think Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, those are going to be future Pro Bowlers. They made us look a little Minutes made some adjustments. I mean, they pressured the quarterbacks that was out there, whether it's Huntley or Anthony Brown. Um, DeAndre Swift. My only concern, Philadelphia, is they just don't have the same depth as compared to last year. I had to look at their depth chart, and that's something that really stood out to me. They don't have depth. Um, I'm really curious to see how they'll still make all those things, how they get it all together. DeAndre Swift, I think is going to have a good year. I think this is a big transition for him. I felt like, in my personal opinion, I think the Lions gave up on him too fast. Understand the injuries and all those different things like that. But I think he's a bit of an upgrade from Miles Sanders, and that's no disrespect to him. Miles Sanders did well, but I think he's an upgrade. I think he's the running back that Philadelphia needed, in my opinion. But again, you have to just see. We just got to just give it time. It all depends on his health. I mean, when you look at and go back to Philadelphia's defense, I mean, the first 3 plays, Josh Johnson started, and this is a guy this is a veteran who's been in the league for quite some time, and they just made him think a little quicker. That defensive line, Philadelphia, they really, really did their thing. There's guys that didn't play. I think Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Derek Burnett, and I forgot who else it was starting. They all stepped up. On the offensive side of the ball, I mean Marcus Mariota, I believe had it started out there. Didn't do too much, didn't do terrible, but he did okay with 7 of 11 for 58 yards in the first half. There was no consistency, so I thought he had a good first half. That's really my take for Philadelphia. Transitioning on to Baltimore side, I still feel like at times we depend on Justin Tucker to bail us out of situations, and I really, really, even though he had the field goal to extend the lead 20-13 in the fourth quarter, and obviously the first half going in the second half, the 60-yard field goal. Let's not forget James Prochet. He left his hands back in the locker room and fumbled the ball, and it was Philadelphia's retained possession. And luckily, the defense bailed us out on that one. Respectfully, when games are that close, this is just not for special teams. This is for everybody. I think we're really. I'll say for them, it's going to be a make or break situation. You can't have mistakes like that. I thought that really the MVP of this game was the defense. I thought no matter what they had out there, whether it was a second, third, fourth stringers, they all did pretty well. Everybody stepped up. There was the 4th down stop in the red zone. They had forced a turnover on downs just for that 2-minute warning before they got into the 1-point ball game. They made the pockets for Philadelphia very uncomfortable. Got to the quarterback. They had 3 sacks. Those are things I kind of want to see, in my personal opinion. Respectfully, I do think that on the defensive side, they get a B plus. Respectfully, let's talk about that offense. I was very disappointed in what I saw. At first, I didn't know what we were doing in the first half. I thought it was very lackadaisical, and I thought Philadelphia creating pressure really made a difference. Tyler Huntley, respectfully, is the number 2 quarterback behind Lamar Jackson. Let's just get that out the way. Um, I mean, I it really should be a distant 2, 3, and 4. I think Josh Johnson is a veteran. He's a journeyman. I mean, they had the same similar stat line from Saturday's game. Um, I mean, Josh Johnson played the entire first half, compared to where Huntley just had 2 drives in the second half. If you paid attention, how the offense looked with Huntley, it looked a lot smoother compared with Johnson. And I don't know, maybe it just was how, Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith was getting to Josh Johnson, but there was a big adjustment. And again, you know, there's a similar skill set that Tyler Huntley has, just like Lamar Jackson. He utilized his mobility to extend and make plays. Josh Johnson is older. I think he's 35, 36. We shouldn't be expecting that. I mean, he's going to just be, at this point, he's more of like a gunslinger at this point. I mean, there was the first time I've seen this in quite some time, a catch back short of touchdown to Tylan Wallace. That was a good play. That was a 13 play for 75 yards. That was a great drive. My game ball will go to Keaton Mitchell. Even though he would have had his first preseason touchdown, it was called back with a holding penalty. He did finish with 11 yards on six carries. It was a 35-yard touchdown. He has speed, acceleration, and I thought he found the holes pretty well. And even had him out there as a kick returner. He had 73 yards combined on 3 opportunities. So I still think he'll make the team over Melvin Gordon. Just my opinion. I still think, for me, the receivers, it's no question. I still think Tylan Wallace will make the team, in my opinion. But respectfully, I mean, Tylan Wallace didn't do anything spectacular, but I think in this system, I think you're going to see a little bit more explosiveness. We did have another guy, Laquan Treadwell, again, because they're probably going to go for that last roster spot. I mean, Tylan Wallace hasn't shown much on offense because, respectfully, he hasn't been utilized. And again, Treadwell is a veteran in this league. I mean, other than that, there really is, for me, I think the odd man out is James Prochet, because after that blunder of a turnover, and then also too, he just hasn't flourished. He just hasn't thrived. I still think he can do some things. I think he can be a returner, but I mean, he's just underachieved, and I respectfully, I try to give guys benefit of the doubt. I will say maybe it's the system. Again, under Greg Roman, he did keep guys in the box, and does not get the full potential of their talent. So we'll see how it looks in Game 2 against Washington. I mean, again, Duvernay as well had a good game. We had another guy by the name of Sean Ryan. He had a good game. For me, left guard spot is my really only concern right now. I'm just not sold on Ben Cleveland. I think this is his year to prove something, and he just hasn't shown anything. I mean, they had him at left guard. I mean, they had him at right guard and right tackle. And I mean, Jalen Carter made him look like a baby. I mean, just I can't even describe it. But it just didn't look good. So I think it's safe to say that I don't see him making the roster. If he does, it's more for depth. Anthony Brown, I'm going to say I'm going to give him a C plus. And I'm being fair because he did kind of have a bounce back late in the fourth quarter. Um, and he made some adjustments. From what I've seen and heard, he's not been the greatest in camp, but especially in the fourth quarter um, against Philadelphia, he did his thing. He didn't, have some blunders. He was 3 of 8, 7 yards in the pick. But for me, um, I'm gonna give him some more time. Charlie Collier, I know was out there. I think let's have him. I'm gonna watch him for Monday's game specifically. I think he needs to be more involved. Um, I Here's my thing. The situation they put him in, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the offense, period. Because respectfully, um, especially when you and especially in the 1 minute offense, you should be utilizing the sidelines. And didn't do that. He fumbled the ball and it went out of bounds. But I mean, he bounced back with another catch. But other than that, I mean, I think he did well. But just I need to see more from him. Um, but obviously, I would say Tyler Huntley is my game MVP. Um, what he did in the second half with that offense was pretty good. Kavon Seymour, um, he's been playing very well. He's having a great training camp with us. I know, even though as some as Raven fans have been hard on him, he's definitely been more consistent and he's been making good plays. And he didn't allow a catch all game. So let's get that out the way. Again, there was actually the one time they did catch the ball on his side of the ball. On his side was offensive coordinate was an offensive pass interference. But I really do think that we still got to figure out the corner situation. I'm outside of Kavon Seymour. I have questions. I really do. I mean, Brandon Stevens is a good corner, but he's not physical. A Darius Washington, I think he's more of a nickel corner. I mean, Kerry Kelly, he's a rookie. And Jalen Armand Davis and Rocky Sin, I mean, there's a lot of inexperience. They're young, and they'll get together. But this was another. Again, I still make the argument. I feel like Baltimore should have drafted a corner in the first round. Don't get me wrong. I love Zay Flowers. I'm a fan of it. But respectfully, I would have appreciated if they would have went after a corner. Only because I mean that's just who I am. I just believe that you can always. I understand the argument. You can always find a corner in day 2, day 3, but we did have some guys that were sitting there, and just disappointing that I feel like that wasn't addressed. Also, too, I'm not going to panic on our defense, our front seven. There's a lot there that's in the transition. Justin Houston's gone. Calais Campbell's gone. I like getting Chuck Smith, who is now our outside linebacking coach. I mean, to me, I'm looking for David Ojabu and Odafe Owe to have good years. I mean, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, Michael Pierce, Justin Matabike, Barter Washington. I mean, I think they'll be fine. I still think that there's a lack of a pass rush there in terms of depth. But other than that, hey, I thought it was a good game. Over for a while, hey, I'll still feel like there's some things we could take away. I know in that game against Washington this upcoming Monday, I'm going to be watching the first half. The offense has to be a lot better. And if we're being honest, too, Zay Flowers, just seemed to go throw him on the spot. I don't think he didn't have a catch, but I see what the potential can be with him for sure. But other than Tyler Huntley, who I think is the number two quarterback, I'm not comfortable with this cornerback depth right now. So the biggest thing is for the corners, respectfully, everybody staying healthy. Jalen Armour-Davis, Demarion Williams, and Arthur Millette were all out with injuries. So, and I'm concerned going into the season because I'm already getting flashbacks of 2021. So, and then in terms of left guard, that's going to be interesting. I feel like losing Ben Powers hurts, but I think he could be easily replaced. There's a couple of guys that we have there, respectfully. I think the guy that they did draft, his name is Salah Anve Lalu. Harbaugh has been preaching the wonders with him. He's been having a great training camp so far. Another guy by the name of John Simpson. He's a vet. I know he had a key block on the Justice Hill run in that game. But yeah, other than that, Ronnie Stanley, healthy. London Ball, we know Zeitler, Morgan Moses, they're going to hold it down. Patrick McCarry, but you could really plug McCarry in anywhere. But other than Falele, I think more as a tackle. But I think the odd man out on that has been Cleveland, respectfully. And that's no disrespect to him. I don't see it. And then also too, I know we just started yesterday the joint practices with Washington. So I'm curious to see how that'll go. I'm gonna go back and look at the tape, listen to all the interviews and different things like that, and how that went for the first day today, because we get Washington again next Monday. So, other than that, hey, y'all, let me know your thoughts on this game. I like it. Again, tomorrow I'll be on Washington Football Weekly, and we'll be breaking down this game with Will Kramer and Sean Spencer. But before we get into the final thought, let's get into the sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast, and that is Zagnif Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to dress like you're already famous? You can and you will with Zagnif Apparel.
The following is a presentation of Zagnif Productions, LLC. Introducing Zagnif Apparel. Our comfortable line of leisure wear and athletic wear will have you comfortable and stylish at any occasion. Whether you're at the gym, out shopping, or just relaxing at home. Whether you're an athlete or just want to lay around the house, we've got the perfect outfit for you. Stop by our website today and pick up your favorite pieces. Zagnif Apparel. Dress like you're already famous.
You can and you will by using my discount code for your final purchase with a nice 15% off using my code, Big Nate, for your final purchase. Thank you for Zagnif Apparel for being a sponsor of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you will dress like you're already famous. Let's get into the final thought of the podcast.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
The final thought of this podcast is I want to take this opportunity to send my thoughts and prayers to the family of Alex Collins. Alex Collins was a former running back, played for the Seattle Seahawks and also the Baltimore Ravens. Alex Collins was arguably probably one of my favorite Ravens to watch. He was part of a team a few Raven teams that were that I felt as though was in transition post Super Bowl, and what he did for the community. And I know he loved to Irish dance. He played here for 2 years. It's called the Irish Jig. I apologize. He had a total of 13 touchdowns during his time in the 2 years in Baltimore. Tragically, lost his life Monday morning to a motorcycle accident. So I'd like to send my thoughts and prayers to his family. Alex was a good player. I felt like, especially, in the transition, I felt like he was part of rebuilding that culture. And, he just was respected by so many. I never met him. It's just, you could just see he really was a people's person. He loved to make people smile, make people laugh. And he will be missed. Coach Harbaugh put this statement out, and I quote, "Alex was a joy to be around and someone whose light shined brightly. I'll always remember him for being a great teammate who had an uplifting spirit that impacted everyone he encountered. He was also a smart player who ran with unlimited determination, and he contributed a lot to our success during our time in Baltimore. We send our heartfelt condolences and support to Alex's family. May he now rest in God's eternal peace." Also, his agent also made a statement as well. And I quote, "My heart is broken. I'm just at a loss. Alex, you were loved by so many. You impacted lives with joy, positive, caring spirit, and that big smile. I was so honored to be your agent." Again, ladies and gentlemen, I just reiterate, let's take this opportunity to just be thankful that we're allowed to see another day. And tomorrow's not promised. Just tell the ones how much the ones that are closer to you, whether it's friends, family, that you love them. And this hurts a little bit. This definitely hurts. And just respectfully, I want to say this notion, I don't know who started this. I know it started on Twitter, and I don't appreciate it. We need to refrain from when we make statements by saying the Ravens are, quote, cursed. I thought that was very ignorant. I think that's very disrespectful. And some of you need to touch grass, respectfully. Let's think of all the positives that guys have played for this franchise and what they've done, not only for the team, but for their families and for the communities that they've impacted, instead of bringing up ignorant takes like that. But again, I just want to send my heartfelt condolences here at Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Rest in peace, Alex Collins. Thank you for what you've done for the game of football. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude this episode of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Colors,
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
I want to thank you, yeah. I want to thank you. Ooh. For all the times you put up with me. Thank you. And you helped me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you do.